Excuse me, could you point me in the direction of ScreamCity? Never mind, I think I found it.
Hello, horror freaks. Welcome back to ScreamCity. I'm your host, Monica.
And I'm Jessica, and today we will be continuing the summer series by discussing one of my personal favorites, Summer of '84.
Summer of '84 was a good one. We'll start there. But before we jump into the movie, Jess and I have finally decided to change the verbiage of our peak and our pit. So now, instead of asking each other that, because it's too confusing, we're just going to ask each other if we've had a jump scare of the week in real life. Mm-hmm. Because life alone is a horror movie.
Yes.
We've said before plenty of times. So for this week, and then if we've had something good happen to us, then we just kind of say it. But Jessica, have you had a jump scare of the week?
Yes, actually. Sunday.
Okay.
Yesterday at work was the whole day was a jump scare, honestly. People are crazy. People are insane.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
But just know that yesterday's shift was a jump scare.
Alone.
But something good came out of yesterday.
Okay.
Because Mexico won the Gold Cup.
We did see that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Saturday was also really good because I went to Texas Honors Convention.
Yeah.
It was pretty fun. It grew a lot. Like, I think this is my sister and I's fourth, maybe third year going.
It was pretty packed.
And my God, it is huge now.
Even
but
these small conventions are growing.
I know. I like
Good
to
for
game
them.
shit.
Don't go.
That's
Yeah. Good.
What about you? Any jump scares?
Jump scares. I think just being busy. I've constantly been doing a lot of things like since Thursday. I mean, Thursday, Friday, Saturday I work, and then it's like a lot of family time yesterday, which was great. And I think just time in general is kind of catching up to me. But I got to see my cousin that I had not seen in like over 10 years, which feels so great. He looks like he's doing amazing, and I love him so much. And then I love just spending time with family. So that's always a good thing.
I love that.
You know,
Yeah.
the jump scare is just, life is catching up to me slowly, and I need some rest.
I feel that.
Yeah.
I feel that. But anyway.
Yeah, go ahead. Continue.
Finally getting into this movie. If you haven't had the chance to watch this movie, just know that, as always, there will be spoilers, so don't say we didn't warn you. But to give a quick synopsis, and this is coming straight from IMDb, after suspecting that their police officer neighbor is a serial killer, a group of teenage friends spend their summer spying on him and gathering evidence. But as they get closer to discovering the truth, things get dangerous.
And do it indeed.
And they do indeed.
It
Yes,
do.
yes,
It
ma'am.
shall do. But with that being said, Jess, what are your 3 for this movie? So your favorite scene, your first impression. We don't really get kills, so what's like your favorite spooky moment that you get in this film?
Yeah, so my first impression, I don't remember the first time I ever watched it, but I think it was in 2018, which is when it came out.
Yeah.
I think my sister watched it first on Shudder, and then she asked me if I wanted to watch it. I said sure, and I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it so much that I got it on DVD, and I got a poster of it at some convention. I think, you know. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. And of course, you know, it was 2018. Stranger Things had just come out like 2 years prior to that. So I was already in that mood.
It's
you know
heavy on the vibes
Yeah.
of like it and Stranger Things alone.
But yeah, first impression, I really enjoyed this movie. My favorite scene, I hope it doesn't come as a surprise when I say this, but I'm in between two.
Okay.
First one, I just thought it was such a cool scene, but that walk-up scene when they're going to play Manhunt and they realize that Sammy has been missing for a while, but just like the walk-up scene alone, I thought it was
where it's like them
shot-
four, and then it's like
more
their group
guy-
of friends
yeah.
kind of follow behind them.
them.
It is really cute.
I love any like walk-up scene.
It's cool.
Especially like the synth music playing in the background.
Yeah.
It was just really aesthetically pleasing.
Okay.
My second one, I think, is the realization scene after they find the boy in the basement as they're
Yes.
walking out. And Davy notices the pictures on his wall are not actually Mackie's family, but the victims.
Yes.
And then he sees his family portrait.
Yeah,
it's
which
just,
is like even creepier.
I know, it's just so, oh my god.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are two of my favorite scenes. My favorite spooky moment. Again, I have two.
Okay.
One is like silly goofy, and then the other one's like actually scary.
Okay.
But the silly goofy one is the scene where the boys are inside Sammy's home, and the phone starts ringing,
Oh my
and they
gosh.
make Woody, they make him turn the kitchen lights on, and as he's going to turn them on, Nikki's hand like pops up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Which Homegirl brought us like the two only jump
She
scares in this
did.
movie. So shout out to her.
She did.
But that one got me good. So, you know.
I like that one too.
But then my actual scary moment or favorite scary moment, and I think this has been since I first watched it. It's the scene where Woody and Davy come back from the police station after showing the police the footage that they got, and they're sleeping, and the attic stairs from Davy's house come down, and I'm like, fuck, I know this. I know damn well
exactly where it's going.
I know exactly where it's going. I know damn well who that is. I hate it so much. And then Mackie walks into Davy's room. Oh my god. Yeah.
And he like kidnaps them.
Yeah.
I really thought that whatever that scene was, I thought it was going to be like a dream scene. Like I thought eventually Davy would wake up and then he's like left with this nightmare of being like, is it actually solved? Like we can't find him. Just for it to get worse.
Dude, it got, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Crazy. What about you? Your first three or your big three?
So my first impression is, okay, so I just watched it this morning. just because time has caught up to me and I've just been a little bit busy. I watched it this morning and I loved it. So the setting and the theme of this is very nostalgic for many reasons. So of course, because the theme and the vibes were very Stranger Things, and then the boys and then their acting was very Losers Club from the remake of It. But the storyline reminds me of Disturbia, which I don't know if you've seen, but I really love. It's a Shia LaBeouf movie. And it's literally the exact same thing. Like the storyline of Disturbia is he has a neighbor who he thinks is like killing women and I don't know what, and then the neighbor starts targeting his mom or dating her or whatever. And they do this exact thing. Like he has like his two friends, they spy on him, they try to like catch him and things like that. And so I really loved it, and I liked how all of those things kind of tore into like one full movie that I really enjoyed. And then I also watched this movie on my laptop, which is also nostalgic because that's how I would watch almost everything and anything. It's just like before I could have a smart TV and I can have Netflix on my TV. Yeah. So I would watch it on my laptop, which is really cool. But yeah, it's very eerie and I loved it. My favorite scene is, I think you had mentioned it in yours, is the reveal scene. So when they find the boy in the basement and then Davy makes the realization of like, oh, this is not his family. Like these are victims. I kind of picked up on it whenever him and is it Faraday?
Yeah.
I can't pronounce his name. They're in the library and they're looking at the pictures of like victims. I saw the family portrait and then I was like, isn't that the one in like his home? But it's not the exact same picture, but I was like, there's a similarity there. And I liked it. And then my favorite spooky moment was when the boy got kidnapped. Like, we actually see a kidnapping, but what I liked about it and what I found so eerie was the sound of the footsteps.
Yeah.
They were, the sound of the footsteps in this whole movie is, like, very prominent. Like, it's you can tell that they're footsteps, but it was creepier and a lot more spooky when he's getting kidnapped, because he's, like, walking.
I don't know, and I'm sure you did because I know you use them. But did you use captions?
Yes.
In the movie. So while I was rewatching it just now, the captions during that scene said footsteps turning into a run or whatever, and I was like, "That's creepy."
That is creepy.
Yeah.
No, because it's true. Because then like the footsteps speed up, and then like okay, like chasing is one thing, like it's scary. But, like, I don't know. I
think the build up to being chased is...
Absolutely. I thought it was great.
Much, yeah.
I loved it. But, yeah, I loved all of that. But now we can move into discussing the movie a little bit more and some of our favorite or maybe not so favorite moments. Do you want to start off with one?
Sure. Okay. I mean, I do have a lot to say about this movie. first of all, I think we need to get the elephant out of the room first. Address the elephant in the room.
Okay, did you say get out?
I said we need to get the elephant out of the room.
Okay,
Address the elephant in the room.
let's go.
The soundtrack.
The soundtrack to this is so great.
So
It's another thing that makes this movie so nostalgic.
good.
Yeah, it is good.
It's the synth. Ooh, it's the synth music. It's Cruel Summer.
Yeah.
It's just so good.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like I mentioned earlier, it just kind of reminds me. And I hate to kind of compare.
Yeah.
But it does remind me of Stranger Things.
It does.
A lot. In many aspects, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the music part.
I think when something like Stranger Things becomes so popular,
Mm-hmm.
like you're someone who wants to enter the same like job description of some sort, or like if you're a producer or a filmmaker or anything of that sort, like you're gonna try to bandwagon off something that's that popular
Yeah.
just to see if you can get the same attraction.
Sure.
So I mean, I definitely don't blame them, but I don't knock off any points for if that was the case.
Yeah.
Like the inspiration was there, and I loved it.
Yeah. So soundtrack was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I hate the scene where Davy's parents force him to go apologize to Mackie.
Oh,
I hate that scene so much.
So I have this really bad thing where if I'm like cringing at something, I can't watch.
You skip it.
No, I don't skip it.
Oh.
I just listen, but I can't watch it.
Oh.
So that entire scene of his parents being like, you shouldn't have done that. Like, why are you doing this? Now you need to go apologize to him, yada, yada. I'm like, you could have just grounded him.
Exactly.
Like, you could have just told him how bad it was. And then I was like, I wouldn't have gone and made him whatever. Then again, also have to think, like, back in the day in the 80s and 70s, like, being neighborly was something that was very important. And so I can definitely see, how that stands. But I could not watch the scene where he was actually speaking to him. It was like so weird. I was just like, oh my God, no, I don't want to know what he thinks. I don't want to know what he like looks like. The only thing that I do I caught when I was listening was when he said, oh yeah, that was my nephew. And then Davey was like, you say you didn't have any family here.
Yep.
He's like, you're lying. You're lying. Tell my parents you're lying.
I hate every adult in this movie except for Woody's mom and Officer Cole.
Oh, Officer Cole.
Yeah,
he was like,
pretty cool.
I can't bust you.
Yeah, exactly.
I go to church with your mom.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
But yeah, no, that and then whenever the police tell Davy's parents like, oh, you should be so proud of your son. He's a hero. Like that boy wouldn't be alive without him or whatever. Oh,
I mean,
exactly.
they
Listen
could
to your
have.
kids, people.
It's kind of hard because I
get it.
completely understand.
No, I
Yeah,
get it,
No, I
100%.
completely understand, and it's kind of hard because it's like he's a 14-year-old boy, 13,
15.
15,
It's 15, yeah.
15.
Because he tells Mackie asks him how old
That's
he is.
right, at the
And then
beginning.
Mackie says, it's the perfect age. I wish I could just freeze it for you.
Which he's like, and I will because
Yeah.
I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I completely agree. And then, but it's like he's 15. Like 15-year-old boys are up, down, left, right. Like they're all everywhere. And so, like, I can only imagine what their parents were probably, or his parents were probably thinking that he was doing. So like I get it, but like there's some truth to that. Like look into it, But I don't know. It's what makes the movie. So I guess it doesn't really matter. Yeah. So for him being 15, how old was Nikki? That's what confuses me because I'm like, if she was old enough to babysit him, and I just didn't like the line where he said, "Now we're old enough to hang out," and I'm like, what does that mean?
Exactly.
Because in my head, now she's 18 and you're still 15, and I don't like that.
Right.
But they made like their little love story, and so I was like, okay. I mean, It also doesn't help that she looks like she's 20.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think they tried to make her look a lot younger, but
I'm going to
she
be honest.
looks maybe her age.
I'm going to be honest. It's been a second since I watched this movie. So when I rewatched it again recently, I completely forgot how Nikki even looked. Like, I actually thought that she was going to be like a young girl around their age. And then when we saw her DJing for the first time, I was like, oh, I remember, like, yeah, she's kind of old.
She looks older, but I don't know.
Yeah.
That was my only bone that I was picking at because I was like, oh, whatever. I mean, I guess. I don't really know how old they were supposed to make her in the movie because they don't say. There was a scene that I also really liked because it was very, like, a nostalgic type scene. Like if you were to see this in a commercial, I feel like it would unlock memories of some sort. But it's just where Davy's just making him a PB&J sandwich. But it's like the way, like where he's sitting in the kitchen and like the background and like, I don't know.
It was making me crave one. I was like, dang, I could really go for an Uncrustable right now.
Like it looks so good. Yeah. And then like the way he poured his milk into his little glass. Yeah. I was like, I get those from Mexico. Those are cool. Yeah. Yeah, but I thought that was a really cool scene because it's just an overall nice little like
nostalgic.
Yeah. It felt nice to watch.
Getting into the so like nostalgic to watch or pretty things to watch. Yeah. Woody and Tommy's home lives make me so sad.
Absolutely.
Like very so sad. Depressed. Like Woody cares so much for his mom, and then Tommy, who acts like such a badass, cries because his parents are fighting. It was just
so it's really sad because like I feel like that also kind of gives you a maybe range or a perspective of like how two individuals and like two children, how they can react so differently to almost the same home life. Yeah. So like, because you have like Eats, who's very like, I don't give a fuck. And then you have like Woody, who's like, I'm scared.
I know, yeah.
And I was like, at all costs, we need to protect Woody. And guess what? We didn't.
We did not.
We absolutely
failed
did not.
To protect him.
To protect Woody.
And I am depressed about it.
So the whole scene, the whole like ending scene, I really thought it was going to be a dream state, which I was so like, what the hell? Yeah. I think what I liked about this movie is that, you know how like sometimes you don't need a plot twist. You know what I mean? Oh, 100%. Like you don't need this huge plot twist to make a good movie. Right. And I feel like this is that done really well.
The movie not having a plot twist was a plot twist.
That's true, because it's like, I know what I'm expecting. Right. Like I know that it's him too. Yeah. I know that it's him, and I like there's evidence there, and he's so right. But I think that's like, because one, it helps you root for the protagonist. Like, it helps you be on their side. It helps you go against the antagonist even more. Like, you don't... And we also don't get, like, a chance to feel bad for him either. Like, the antagonist. Like, not one bone in my body do I feel bad. I never liked him, period.
No. Like, period.
No. Because what's the point?
Exactly. He's a cop.
Yeah, that too. And so I'm just kind of like, I had no remorse towards him, and, like, I like that. Because you know how sometimes they kind of give you a background of the villain and yada yada, and they try to... Which is fine in some aspects.
I think they were trying to do... I mean, I think they were trying to do that when they opened the first door with the locket, and they were like, was this his room or whatever?
Oh, and it kind of looks...
And they were trying to make him, like, look sort of like a victim, like, oh my god, maybe he was locked down here in the basement as a little kid. Okay, and look what he's doing now. Like,
now he's locking kids in his basement. No, yeah, I think that's what I liked about this movie too. So it wasn't this like whole reverse around, like, I'm gonna take you here, I'm gonna make you think it's this person, I'm gonna make you think it's that person. It was just all like so hinged on just the one thought of being like, he did it. And I was like, I see that. But the ending also left me very like, because like he just left him there. I know. And then I was like, I don't know what's worse, like him murdering him or him doing what he did. Because now like he left him with this like, I'm gonna come for you. That's also scary because I know that boy is now traumatized.
It's kind of giving Laurie Strode and Michael Myers. Ooh. Like, I'm gonna come for you, and you don't know when or you don't know how,
but just know you're gonna be right one day. That's terrifying. Yeah. That's very scary. Yeah. But that's what I liked about it. So I like the ending to this, and I like that the plot of this movie wasn't like super crazy, insane. It was just very simple, simplistic, nostalgic, and it did the job. Yep. And I loved it.
One last thing that I would like to add is this movie should be proof that you should sometimes believe conspiracy theorists.
I was like, they were giving him so much shit for being believing into conspiracy theories. But okay, another thing that unfortunately these things were not like a fad back then. Now we're all into them because I feel like, one, there are so many. Two, we have maybe some more proof of different things. But he was just trying to believe in his little conspiracies, and then his friends were like,
And because he believed in these conspiracy theories, he was smart enough to like gather all the pieces.
And pick up all the evidence and pick up on all these things. And then it's like sometimes conspiracists
conspiracy
conspiracy
theorists, I think.
are not all of them are psychos.
Right.
Some of them actually,
have a valid point. Sometimes
they have big brains. Sometimes
they maybe, yeah.
Sometimes they got big brains.
Real quick, actually, sorry, I did want to add this last thing. The scene where Davy asks Mackie to call his nephew, I knew damn motherfucking well
that he was
calling himself. And then sure enough, I do like the scene where Davy calls
back.
Yeah,
like
calls back and is like, can you give me the last phone number? And he is writing it down, and he literally looks down at his whiteboard and he sees emergency contact Mackie, and it's the exact same number.
And I was like, interesting.
I was like, first of all, Mackie's stupid as fuck for doing that.
For calling himself?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was like, at least calls like
a random number.
Yeah, a random number or something. But I guess that's like proof of being like, I know that I won't answer because I'm not home.
Exactly.
Like the whole point was just to not get an answer, I guess. But yeah, I can definitely see. It's like little things like this that I'm like, you're giving the protagonist so much, like, what's the word? Like, you're giving him so much power to like think that he's smart enough to think of all of these things. And I'm like, maybe the killer's just dumb.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's the case, and that's okay.
And that's okay.
Yeah, but I loved it.
Now to get into the cast. This movie had a pretty good cast.
I like the cast.
Yeah,
I like the people that were in
too.
this. I didn't have too many complaints.
Yeah. We've got Graham Cracker. I'm just kidding.
Not the graham cracker.
We've got Graham? Is that how you say his name?
Graham. I assume.
Okay. Vercheri?
I do not know how to pronounce that. I don't even know what that is. Is that like it's giving Italian.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't really know.
Anyway, that's Davy Armstrong. Okay, our main dude. Judah Lewis, who is Tommy, aka Eats. Caleb Emery as Woody. Corey Gruder Andrew as Curtis Faraday. Tierra Scoffy as Nikki. Rich Somer as Wayne Mackey. Jason Grace Stanford as Randall Armstrong. Boo! He was annoying. Shauna Johansson as Sheila Armstrong. Harrison Hood as Bobby Coker, the dude that we found who was kidnapped.
Yes, poor dude.
Aaron Buchholz as Kyle. And J. Alex Brinson as Officer Cole.
First of all, I love his picture.
Who?
Of J. Alex Brinson.
Oh, yeah.
Very poised man.
Yeah, very handsome.
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I didn't have too many complaints. I liked everyone who was in this movie. I think the boys did a really good job with the chemistry that they had with each other. I really do think that the charisma as, like, the characters were very much like Losers Club.
Yeah.
And I think they portrayed it pretty much almost identically. And I think it was fun. It was fun to see.
Fun fact, actually, Caleb, who plays Woody, I want you to guess how old he is.
Now?
Sure.
21?
No.
Younger or older?
Older.
Is he my age? Is he 20, like...
Older.
25? He's older?
Yeah.
You're lying.
I'm not lying.
There's no way he's in his 30s.
He was born in 93.
He's 30?
Yeah. Or he's about to turn 30.
Oh
yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah, so he was 4 or 5 when he filmed this. He was the oldest of the 4.
Oh my gosh.
Which is funny because whenever he's driving and Officer Cole pulls him over, I think it's Eats is like, oh, don't worry, you look 30.
You look 30.
Yeah.
And it's like funny because you're almost there.
You're almost there.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny. He does look, like he looks older, but I wouldn't expect him to be that much older.
No, I believed him that he was 15,
Me
16.
too. At that age.
Yeah.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
I think that kind of helps. Do you know if any of the rest of them are older?
No idea.
No,
because
I was gonna say, like, I think the Losers Club does a really, like, what they did well in casting is casting actual, like,
little kids.
kids.
Yeah, no,
like,
I think everyone else
teenagers.
is
maybe
young.
around the same age.
Yeah.
Because and then we got to see them grow up, and then we got to see them, like, you know, in other things as they get older. But that's insane. I wouldn't have expected them to be 30.
I knew Rich Sommer looked familiar, and I was looking at his, like, works and everything. I really think I only know him from Devil Wears Prada.
He is in Devil Wears Prada.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
But I think that's
like Devil
really
Wears
much.
Prada.
And I was looking at the rest of the cast, and apparently Jason Grace Stanford and Harrison Hood were on iZombie, which I did watch that show religiously, but this was like a million years ago,
same.
and I do not remember them.
I feel like isn't Harrison Hood like not her love interest, but isn't he like her best friend?
No,
Is he a victim?
maybe.
Maybe. Okay. Well, either way, that's good to know.
Yeah.
At least we've seen some of these in other. I was gonna say because Devil Wears Prada, Rich Sommer, he does look very familiar, and I was like, I don't know where I know him from.
I
feel like I've seen him in something else. But...
Yeah, I thought I got him confused for like someone else.
Okay.
But
I like it.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Well, yeah, no complaints with the cast. I like everyone that was in it. Everyone did a good job. Everyone did what they had to do. Yeah. Bills was paid with this one.
They sure were.
Good for them. But go ahead.
Okay, yeah. Going into some facts and some reviews. So, I only have like one fact for y'all today. Okay. And it's Cruel Summer by Bananarama, which is a great song.
Yes.
Plays while they are riding their BMXs, exactly the same positioning in The Karate Kid, with Daniel LaRusso riding his BMX to the same track. A cool nod considering it was released in the summer of '84.
Karate Kid was?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's cute.
It has a 6.7 out of 10 on IMDb.
Okay.
Okay. It has a 71% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay.
It has a 4.4 out of 5 on Shudder. And you know why? Because Shudder gets it.
Shudder does get it. There was a point in time where Mateo and I were watching like original Shudder movies once, like every night, and every single one was a bop.
Exactly.
Every single one.
Because they get it.
They do get it.
They're for the girlies.
They're for the horror girlies, and they
Exactly.
understand the assignment.
I know.
They
And that's
get
why
it.
they gave them a good score.
A good rating.
Yeah.
I don't think 71 is awful. Like, I don't think it's a bad rating, especially for something. I feel like Rotten Tomatoes is I sometimes agree with them. I sometimes don't. I think it just depends, obviously, on the movie. I don't think it's awful, but I think for something that's supposed to be like indie, but at the same time that's supposed to be like, I think it's a good rating for what it is, if that makes sense. But I do agree. Like, for me, it's a little bit. I'm rating it a little bit higher in my head and like personally, but I don't think it's awful. Like, I think it's still something that's like
I'm just
good
salty.
watch. No, I agree. But Shudder does get it.
Yeah.
So it started off on Shudder.
I think. I mean, I know it was premiered or it was
On Shudder?
shown on some like very limited movie theaters, I think. But I know for sure that the first time I watched it was Shudder
Okay.
with my sister.
But I liked it. I like I mean, the ratings aren't awful, but I agree. Like, I can see why maybe someone wouldn't like it, but to me, it's more just like, it's not an original idea. And I'm like, okay, what horror movie is?
Exactly.
If you really bring it down to the T, like, no movie is original, or like no idea.
That leads me to my next thing, which are some reviews.
Oh, yes.
So I'm going to start off with, it's so funny because these are back to back as I was looking at them.
Okay.
The first one, Ron Alexander. In all caps, it says, "Stay away from this movie unless you are into wasting almost 2 hours of your life."
Aww.
Spoiler alert right up front. This is a ripoff from so many other movies that it proved to have no imagination from the start. It was obvious that they had a sequel in mind from early on, hence the year, that it slowed the picture down. I realize time is different in movies, but this one went an extra mile to try to add suspense and mystery. The acting in it is really good, so I had no problem with the performances, just the writing and direction. It's just super long.
Yeah.
But then he just ends up saying, like, go ahead, make a sequel, and I'm sure that it will get enough people curious enough to see how it ends. But I, for one, would not waste my time watching to see how they can screw up another movie and waste another 2 hours of my life. No, thank you, in all caps.
What's his name? Ron?
Ron Alexander.
Ron Alexander sounds petty as hell.
He sure does.
There's something very salty and shady about that, and it has nothing to do with how he feels
Exactly.
about that movie.
Yeah. He has some, trauma that he
He
has
has
to...
some very unresolved trauma
There we
issues that he
go.
needs to kind of get together. No, I mean, again, like, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. I understand. But, like, no, it's not an original idea.
Yeah.
It's not even original theme.
Nothing is an original.
But it's so
more.
good.
Exactly. Like,
I
just
just
enjoy
added
it.
Yeah, like, I just added to my list.
Exactly.
I either don't or I do. And this
Exactly.
one is added.
Thank you.
Ron Alexander's a hater.
Yeah. The next one that literally comes right after it, it's from M007. One word to describe this movie is awesome.
Nice.
All caps.
Hell yeah.
I just loved the ambiance they created of the old times throughout this whole movie, and I'm totally in love with the background music of the movie, which was an awesome match to the thrill that it gave me while watching. The only thing I felt that could have made it a little bit more interesting would be if the gang was a boy-girl mixed one with a little more love. I don't know about that
Yeah,
part.
I didn't need all that.
I don't know about that. I'm okay. Thank you.
I'm good.
And then they say, but anyways, I totally enjoyed those cute boys went about their business. Should we be worried?
Okay, anyway.
Okay. Anyway, all I can tell is that I am totally in love with this movie. Heart.
Same.
Red heart. It's a thriller. All caps.
It's a thriller.
So,
no, I
Okay.
agree. So I don't know. I feel like this is one of those movies where I wouldn't really change anything about it because I really just like the way it is. Like, I really do like the plot. I like everyone who's in it. I like the theme. I love the soundtrack. I love everything about this movie. It's a good one.
it is.
I like this. Not every movie has to be an Oscar
100%,
award-winning
I
movie.
agree.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some movies are just there for nostalgia and vibes, and that's exactly what this is.
For sure.
That's honestly how I kind of feel about Haunt. Like, I don't think it's an Oscar award-winning movie,
Right.
but it is dear to my heart, and I will forever put
It's-
that
they're-
movie
they're
on a
just-
pedestal.
They're just, and like, I know we might sound crazy saying this, but I feel like they're just feel-good movies.
They are.
You know,
Coming from someone who loves horror. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, they're feel-good movies. They're just something for you to put on, and you're like, yeah, that's horror right there. Yeah, I
like,
love it.
if there's ever a moment where you're like, I want to watch a horror movie or I want to watch a slasher,
But I don't really
know which
feel-
one. It just be like, well, this is one of my, my all-time favorites. Let me put it on, and then boom, you're happy.
Yeah, like that's
you
it.
know.
Boom, bada boom, bada boom.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Yeah, no, I agree. All right. Any other reviews?
Let me look for one. Hold on.
Let me
Brief
see.
intermission.
So you can look for one.
Yeah. I liked this one. Hold on. Give me 4 seconds. Steven Jetter. With the popularity of the 80s coming back, directors, musicians, and a lot of other entertainers are hedging their bets on an 80s themed anything. Enter summer of 84 with the usual theme of the sexuality angst teenage boy is used to... No, I don't really...
I can kind of see where they're
I
going
see, no,
with that.
100%. I
'cause they
see,
were-
I see where they're going with that. Let's go to a different one. This movie is so great. Oh, this is Alicia Rivera. This movie is so great. It's got inspiration from Stranger Things, especially in its soundtrack. It's a good movie because at the first part of the movie, you are like, oh, okay, nothing big is happening. But then at the end, it gets more and more interesting. As a lover of 80s horror movies, this one is actually one of my favorites now. I would recommend it to anyone who likes Stranger Things or It.
Absolutely. I don't know. I can't say that nothing is happening at the beginning because
Yeah, no,
immediately
it goes straight
the minute
into it, I think.
I think so too because the minute that he's like, yeah, help me inside, I'm like, no, yeah, like off the bat it gives off very creepy and eerie vibes. Like I think it meant to come off wholesome, but then the minute that they entered the basement and then like you can just tell that it's just it was very ominous. Big brain on that one.
Big brain
It
word.
was very ominous. But no, so I was like, I think from the very beginning, it kind of gives you a setting of like, oh, he creepy. And I agreed.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, moving on from reviews, we're going to go ahead, go in a little further with the episode. And before we end it, we're going to do a little, would you rather?
Yeah.
So for this, would you rather? I'm cringing. So for this, would you rather be in a friend group that is determined to expose a serial killer, putting your lives at risk, or would you rather be the serial killer they're investigating and attempt to hide your secrets and bodies? So I always like to think that if I were to ever be a serial killer, I could get away with it. Mm-hmm. Well, no, okay, here's the thing. I think I could get away with murder. I don't think I could get away with being a serial killer.
Okay.
So you see my difference?
Yeah.
You see the difference?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would like to think that I can uncover someone who is a serial killer.
Same.
So, and I think if we put all of our big brain together and we create one big brain, like, I think we could do it.
Okay, Sherlock Holmes. Goddamn.
Yeah, everything underneath that hat for Sherlock Holmes, that's a brain.
Okay. Yeah. So I agree. I do think that I could expose and, whatever, a serial killer or whoever. But I also feel, I was just thinking about this the other day because I was watching based on a true story on Peacock. I think it's Peacock, maybe. Very good show, by the way.
Okay.
And I was thinking about, murder. And as one does, as one does.
Yeah.
And I was like, how? Like, how can I do this? You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, I'm not determined to kill anyone right now, but yeah. As much as I would like the thrill of attempting to hide all of my secrets and the bodies of the people that I've killed, I think I feel comfortable just being determined to expose the serial killer, with putting my life at risk.
Would you be more determined to be a serial killer? Like, what's your God complex telling you?
My God complex is telling me.
Well, I feel like that can go for.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, I feel like your God complex can go either way.
Yeah,
because either one I could do.
Okay.
No, I think I'd rather be, especially if it's like me and like our group of friends. I think we would for sure be able to like
100%.
Shit.
Yeah,
I'm willing to put my life at risk.
Yeah,
because why not?
I'm a pretty good detective. I think
so too. I think we're all like in different aspects of.
Yeah, I once found someone's Instagram with just their first name and their last name initial.
Oh.
And I found their entire family on Instagram.
Oh, okay.
And then I once saw him on Tinder.
Oh, goodness.
And I was like,
okay.
Yes, match.
Yes, match.
And we did
please.
not match.
Okay.
But,
no, yeah. I think I would rather be in the group of friends that.
Yeah.
And then like vibes. You know, like a little summer fun project.
Yeah,
this is so cute.
I know, like little summer.
Also, did you see how they would dress up in black at night?
Yeah,
to play manhunt, and then also to like.
They're so. And like another thing about this movie is that, and we're totally, going off of the would you rather, but again with the whole like me being an 80s expert, thank you. They really slayed with everything 80s, like the outfits. The mannerisms just were amazing, and I really appreciate that. But to answer the would you rather, I would rather be in a friend group that is determined to expose a serial killer, putting our lives at risk.
I agree. I think so too. I think I'd rather catch someone than be caught.
Right.
Because then when I'm caught,
like that's embarrassing.
It honestly is.
And then now what? Like, I have to kill those people.
To be fair, Mackie was never technically caught.
True.
He was exposed.
But
not caught.
Yeah. Would you, I have a question for you. Would you be down for a sequel?
Honestly, yeah.
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 Same.
I'd want to know, like, I think it's more so, like, I just want to know if he was caught or not.
Right.
And then if he wasn't, where's he
I feel like
now?
he wasn't.
You don't think he would be in the sequel?
I think Mackie's pretty stupid.
So you think like in the sequel he'd be caught or like no? No?
I think in the sequel it's like 30 years from now and Davey is like still, he has like a family now, but he's like still traumatized. It's kind of like, I'm telling you, it's like a whole like Halloween thing.
So then he has children and then that's kind of like, be careful.
Yeah.
Okay. Understand. Then by then would be like, what, 90s?
Yeah.
Is the math in on that? I don't know.
No.
Anyway.
Okay.
No, yeah, I'd be down for a sequel. I like the thought of a sequel for this one. Ron Alexander is a hater, and
He
I
sure
think there
is.
should be a sequel.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay.
Well, great. Now that we have that would you rather out of the way, let's go ahead and rate this movie before ending the episode. Now, this is a horror movie, so we will have our 2 scales of satisfactory and scary, but just because a horror movie is good does not always mean that it is scary, and vice versa. Mm-hmm. So, Monica, what do you rate this movie?
So, my scary scale, mine's more of a 4 out of 10. I wasn't really shaking in my boots, but I was spooked. And, I mean, I ain't gonna lie, those jump scares got me.
They sure did.
They sure did. And the jump scare got me whenever they found whenever the boy who was tied up, and then he, like, jumped at Davy's feet and grabbed him. I got scared.
Yeah.
I was like, ah! And then, like, it was just an overall eerie, spooky remix feeling and vibe, and I really liked it. It was nice to kind of see and feel, you know.
Yeah.
And I was also like, I made sure to close the curtains, close the door. Yeah. Like I was trying to get the ambiance of like being in a dark room. And I liked it. I liked it a lot. And so I give the 4 points for the eerie and the spooky and like the jump scares, but not necessarily like I'm more than sure I'm going to be able to sleep tonight.
Yeah.
You know,
no,
like, I'll be fine.
I'll be fine.
However, my satisfactory scale is honestly a 9 out of 10. It was such a good movie. It's a good movie.
This makes me so happy. This makes me so happy that you actually like one of the movies that I like.
I love this movie a lot. I think it's exactly what you said. It's honestly an overall feel-good movie. Yeah. It's a good one. And this is a movie that I'm like, you've never seen it? Mm-hmm.
And I know, you know, especially on TikTok, but the whole like summer slasher 80s thing is kind of trending right now.
It is, yeah.
And listen, I used to, and I still am, but I'm a gatekeeper, right? And I loved the fact that no one knew about this movie, but because this whole trend is coming out, this movie's getting more recognition, which at this point I'm starting to
which appreciative because you want their work to be appreciated and everything. So for sure, but then it's kind of like, glad you like it, but
I was one of their first
viewers. So it's a 9 out of 10 for me. It's a feel good. If no one's ever seen it, definitely going to recommend it. I loved it. Yeah. So what about you?
Scary scale, same, like 4.5, 5 out of 10, just because, you know, I don't know.
Creepy. It wasn't scary.
No, it wasn't at all. Again, those jump scares, I think it got my dog shaking in his boots a little bit more, because he was all up on me. And I said, sir.
Help.
Yes. Satisfactory, come on now. 9.5. Gearing towards 10 out of 10.
It's just a good one.
Yeah, I was literally upset, and I don't know, I think I blacked out during that time of my life, and I'm not saying this against the movie, but I was genuinely obsessed with this movie.
Yeah, I can definitely see why. Yeah. Like, it's definitely...
And, you know, I think it was one of those movies that when I first watched it, like, it had my heart racing a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of suspense
and
stuff. And obviously the ending scene where the whole like Woody thing, like, oh my gosh, that's just.
I would say I don't know if it's the plot. I mean, overall, this is a movie that you like, but if you've never seen Disturbia, I think you should watch it because I think it's literally the same type of like suspense and plot line, and it's just as good. And that one, I watched it, I think like years later, and I was still like, like on the edge of my seat, wanting to know like, but it's a really good one, and I love it.
Love that.
But yeah. Well, that's good. I think our ratings for this movie are justified, and don't ask for our criticism of this movie, obviously, because we're going to say nothing but good things.
Exactly.
But okay, well, I think that concludes this episode of Summer of 84. It looks like we are nearing the end, but as always, this was a blast to record. If today's episode intrigued you and you haven't watched this movie, okay, now that we got to that part, I remember what I was going to say earlier.
Okay.
So, which is actually what I'm going to go ahead and say. So, you can watch this movie on almost any streaming service, except it's only for rent or to buy. And so when I saw that, I was like, okay, well, how much is it to rent it? Because it's normally like $3.99. So to rent it, it's like $1.99. It's like $1. And then to buy it, it was like $9 or $10. So I was like, well, fuck that. I feel like I'm going to like this movie, so I bought it.
Yeah.
Because it was like $10 on Vudu.
Great.
So I was like, well, I'm gonna own it because
Very proud of you.
I'm most likely gonna like this. And then I was like, and if I don't like it, I was like, it's $10. Like,
I was very lazy, and I know that it was on Shudder. I think it's still on Shudder. I don't know, but I was in my room and I was very comfy in my bed, and I didn't feel like getting up. So I texted my sister, "Yo, what's your Shudder account information?" And she goes, "Bruh, I haven't had Shudder for like a million years." And I was like, "Okay, you're fake." So
fake horror fan.
I looked to my right and I looked at all my movie collections, and I was like, I know that it's in here somewhere. And sure enough, there it was.
Just sitting
So
there.
I took my comfy ass, to the living room
Go watch it.
with the DVD player, and
Yeah.
I watched it with my dog. It was
Yeah.
it was great.
No, and so that's why I was like, I mean, worst comes to worst is I feel mid about the movie, and then I'm like, but it was $10. Like, I feel like now
$10
these
is the
days-
new $1.
It really is. And so I was like, that's not bad.
Yeah.
So it is on everything. So I bought it on Vudu, but you can watch it on Prime. I think I saw that it was on there.
Yes, Spectrum, I think.
Yeah, it's like on like
Spectrum.
it's like on cable, things like that too. But you can't watch it if you have a subscription for anything. So I'll tell you that right now. But you just have to rent it or buy it. But I really do think that if you've never seen it, I don't think $2 is bad for you to spend just to give it a try. And then if you end up liking it, spend the extra $10 to watch, to keep it, because I think it's a really good one. But anyway, yeah. And so thank you again, and of course everyone for tuning in and listening. We truly appreciate all of you. And if you would like to keep up with us, we will have our social media in the summary description.
Yes, and I know we say this all the time, but again, we do appreciate all of y'all for listening and for supporting us. And we hit 666
We did.
followers on
666.
Instagram.
Yes.
So I thought that was pretty cool. I took
Yes.
a little screenshot because I was like, ah.
This is very exciting.
Yes, and we're now close to 700, which
Yeah.
is insane.
Yeah, we're going to hit 700 pretty soon, and then after
Yeah.
that, the thou
The
is
thou.
coming. The thou is coming really quickly
Yeah.
after that. And we're
coming
really
hard.
excited. I like
Very
seeing everything
excited.
grow. But with that being said, if you like today's episode, please tune in to next week's episode where we actually start introducing our segment where we have a special guest. So we will have a third person, and our segment is called "What's Your Favorite Scary Movie?" And it's basically where we do what we do with every episode, but we discuss our guest's favorite scary movie. Now, we haven't exactly come up with exactly who is going to be our first guest and what movie they would like to talk about. But as soon as we have all of that information, we will put it on all of our social media. So like Instagram, Facebook, and all that good stuff.
Yep.
But for now, just expect us to have a third guest, our first guest.
I know.
For
How
our next
exciting.
episode. So we're really excited. But yeah, that's pretty much it about that. I don't know exactly what movie it is either, so we can't really
Same.
discuss.
We can't really discuss the movie, so
because we don't know just yet.
But we'll be there.
We'll let you know our
Yeah.
thoughts for sure. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Now, before we go, Jessica, do you think this week's movie was a movie?
Thank you so much for asking.
You're welcome.
This question. I think that this week's movie, Summer of '84, was in fact a movie.
I think so too. I think it was a movie.
It was a
was
movie.
pretty crazy.
It wasn't a movie. It was a movie.
It was a movie. 'Cause
It was a movie.
I think it's the ending that makes it a
yeah,
movie.
like shit.
Like, goddamn.
Yeah.
It made it. I said that I wasn't shaking in my boots, which I wasn't, but I was like shivering. a little,
Right.
You know, I was
Yeah,
like,
you were shaking
ooh.
to your core a little bit.
Yeah, I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
that was a little shock.
I feel like it started very innocently, like very like cool, fun, wow, detective, to like, this is real.
To something very traumatic.
This is
it
like-
was a very traumatic ending for
Yeah.
someone who's supposed to be so young. So, if this episode didn't encourage you to watch this movie, I don't know what will,
I
because
know.
this movie is really good. And if you've never watched it, I really do think that you should give it a try. I think for my non-horror babies who want to get into horror, I don't think this is a bad one to start off with. This should be somewhere like midline, maybe like after, like if you like scary stories to tell in the dark and you like slasher movies, I think this one is a really good one. And if you got into like Stranger Things and It and things like that, the only reason we compare it to it is because of the chemistry that the boys have, like the friend group.
It's like the boyhood,
we don't-
I think.
Yes,
Yeah.
100%. But we don't get like an actual like monster.
Entity or anything.
Yeah, nothing like that. So nothing to be spooked of with like paranormal or spooky or anything like that. It's just the unfortunate event of something as a serial killer that can actually happen.
And like I always say, humans are the scariest monsters.
They are, because
They
you
are.
never know what they're capable of.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, there you have it. Thank you guys so much. We will talk to you guys next week. And as always, we've been your host, Monica.
And Jessica.
Stay safe
And
stay spooky.
Oof, that was scary. I can't wait to come back next week.